Hello everyone, GL1 here, and finally, at long last, I'm going to do a show on the 6 and 7 inch Wonder Woman figures, and I even have some 5.5 inch ones. And I say finally because a long time ago, early on in my shows, I had mentioned I had a large collection of Wonder Woman, and I even have a bunch of 12 inch really nice ones that are not going to be in this show. So let me get started. All right, so back in 2017, Gal Gadot became Wonder Woman, and this is, I think, the best example of the Mattel figures that are based on the 6 inch scale. So she has a cool sword, and she has her rope, her magic rope of truth, and this even can pull out, and then you can, unleash that. It has pretty good articulation. You have the shoulders, you have the wrist turns, and you have the bicep articulation up here. The head can't turn a whole lot because of the hair. You have, your mid thigh joint, which, is not really attractive. You don't have the double knees, but you've got knees, and you got, some ankles that are tight sometimes, but they do move back and forth. But it really does, it's a good sculpting. It really does look like her. And I think that that's, really the most important thing. So it's a good figure to have. And next to her is Steve Trevor. This is the guy that she rescued. And, he has that mid-torso joint, and his head can look all around. He came with a gun, but I put it with a bunch of other accessories, and I'm not sure which one it is or where it's being used now, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not that interested in the figures accessories, mainly just the figures, because I just change the accessories out oftentimes anyway. All right, and peripheral to her is Queen Hippolyta, and that's this figure here, and doesn't have the torso joint, but does twist. And she comes with a little buckler shield, and you can attach the spears to that. So you have little spear connectors there. And nice figure. You have this nice, clothing accessories. And, just looks good all the way around. You even have the braid in the hair. So I like that figure a lot. And I have actually the fancy 12-inch version of that. And then her friend, or I think she was the captain of the guard, Menelipe, and with her bow. And the hand is permanently affixed to the arrow, but not the bow. But, lots of good details on the clothing. They put a lot of effort into these figures. You can see the sort of the Wonder Woman kind of triangles and everything. These are Mattel figures. So this is before McFarlane, but they put a lot of effort, good sculpting. I don't know if they were using the laser technology to get the faces, but they did really good sculpting even without that. Some brands do a really good job, so it might not be. This is young Wonder Woman when she was training. She was told she wasn't ready yet, if you remember in the first movie. So she has her skirt, All right, you can see that. And then later in the movie, I think we first see her, if I remember correctly, where she's just kind of wearing this coat. She hasn't revealed her, or at least, maybe it's just action figure-wise. This one came out before that one. I do remember that, because I really was waiting for that. But look at the fierceness of her eyes. I mean, you can see it's not the same paint sculpt at all. I mean, the detail on these eyes are much greater. So really neat. Even the paint's shinier on there. So that's kind of a cool difference. I like that sometimes they do something different. You know, the sword is different as well. It's also possible that this wasn't the sword that came with it. All right, and then they had the 5.5 inch figures, and they're really good figures. The face sculpts are great. Um, the only thing about these is they just don't have the articulation. I mean, you have the wrists, you have the elbows, you don't have the bicep joint, but you don't really need that. It's really just the legs go back and forth. You're not getting any lateral motion. You don't get any ankles with that, but you really get a nice figure with that. You know, lots of detail and just a great facial sculpt. Here's another one. I didn't like this facial sculpt as much, and you can see the difference. I mean, it doesn't really look like Gal Gadot either. And but you know, all right, so they did something different. You know, sometimes they have different artists that make the sculpts, and that's what they decide to go with. So maybe someone wanted more of like the black hair Wonder Woman that's kind of like famous from the 1970s series with Linda Carter, actually. So you can see they put the detail into making the rope a different color. And this is like, you know, like she throws a weighted, net over somebody and I guess weighs them down. And then this is Warrior Wonder Woman. And again, the face is different if you look. All right. But this is, I mean, look at the eyes. They're very different. But I like this one a lot. And this one was really difficult and expensive to get. I remember. I don't think it is now, but I think there was a time where it was like $100, which is ridiculous. But, you know, on Amazon, like, you know, these things go to be made and then they're not there any longer. And then it's like, well, there's just a few left and they, you know, the price goes way up. But anyway, that one's pretty cool because she's got the armor. And now I'm going to compare this with the, I don't know how you're supposed to say this, Mafex, you know, Wonder Woman. But this was $70, and I saw it at this store, and I just waited it out till it went to half price. You could still get it, and I think it's $100 now. But here she is. All right, so now you have, you know, the double elbow joint. You have really well articulated shoulder, and then it twists within there. You have the head can really move around. Good, really good sculpt of the face. More detail on the shield, on the weaponry. You can see that. I mean, this is pretty good too. You can see the rivets. And then look at the detail on the outside of the shield. You can see the paint difference. But Mattel did a great job with this because that was like, I think it was $20 or less. You have the double knees. You have the thighs that really move around a lot. You have the ankles that move in all directions. And again, if you want to compare the shoes, you know, they're very, very similar. They're on a different scale. I'd say this is the 5.5-inch scale again. And there she goes. But this one doesn't stand up easily at all, actually. The feet are kind of small, but they're the right scale. And they don't have pegs. See, these have pegs. Oh, they don't. No, these don't have pegs. Okay. You know what it is? The 5.5 ones. They have pegs on the bottom of the feet. So, but you can see, I mean, there's a lot of detail. This moves around and unhooks. You just hook it on there. So there's a nice liability. Easy to lose that. I'm not going to glue it in, though. And then she has a place where she can stash her sword, you know, back behind her. Really detailed sword with like rune writing on the blade. And then, oh, this is kind of cool. So some of these more high-end figures come with a joint in the hip where you see you can push it up in there, but then if you need to move it out for, let's say, an action pose like she's kicking or something, the hip moves. And sometimes the shoulders do that too. And this one does not. But some figures have, oh, yeah, okay, it does. It does this instead, but some actually come out. But this one does have an extra joint, you see, inside there that moves around. So you're paying for that, but you're also paying for other parts. So you get a big lasso that is translucent, which is like when the magic's activated and she's making somebody tell her the truth, it glows. And then she's got different hands. And then you have a calm Wonder Woman face. So you have angry Wonder Woman face and calm Wonder Woman face. So if you remember one of my Hulk episodes, you had calm Hulk and angry Hulk. So I wasn't done. So what I did is I made my own Wonder Woman. And what I did is I took Charlotte Flair, because I felt like I could make... I was looking at the Charlotte Flair wrestling figure, and I was looking, I go, I think I can make that into Wonder Woman. So I did. And there she is. So, confiscated a sword from an extra Wonder Woman figure. And I had to match the paint color to the legs. And you see I had to paint the stomach. And then I had to paint up in the hips to make it more like Wonder Woman's outfit. And then, some gold paint. And that's how I painted it. And then I took these arms. So it still has Charlotte Flair's upper arms. You see that? And then what I did is I took the arms off of this figure. And then I again, heat up the plastic in boiling water and put the forearms on there. They're a little bit off in length. Actually, it looks okay here. No, but you can tell they're a little longer. So you can see the wrist comes down further. So it's actually noticeable to me. I notice proportions really well. So for me, I could tell right away that it's off. And the head's a little bit small, But some people are that way, so it's okay. And like here's the head came from this. So I had an extra, because a lot of these, they went on clearance. So I'd get extra ones knowing what I was going to do. And I also wanted to show you, sometimes when you're trying to affix a head to a different figure, I want to show you here. See the balls, the ball joint for the head are different sizes. So you might have trouble getting them to fit. So what I do is I cut a high quality duct tape. This is Gorilla duct tape. There are others that are great too. It's not like everything Gorilla is the best. But then you can, it fills it out, rounds it out better, and then the head will stay on and it can rotate around just like it did before. So just wanted to give you that little trick there that I use. So, and I had to put glitter. I added glitter to the paint and mixed it around, and then I made like glitter shorts. So put a lot of effort into this, You see I painted I didn't want to cut these off because the knees are not, they're not good looking knees. They're, they're very jointy looking. So, painted that. So I'm going to move on and show you other figures. I'm going to pause this and reset up. All right, so before we get to McFarlane Wonder Women, let's go over some more of these characters. All right, so this is part of Teen Titans, and this is Wonder Girl, and she is supposed to be like the younger half-sister of Wonder Woman, but sometimes she's not related at all. I don't know how the Amazons, replicate themselves, so, but, in some ways I would think they're all related. But not a bad figure. You do have some articulation in the thigh, some ankle articulation. It's a little stiff, but it moves. And, the upper biceps and shoulders. So, all in all, not a bad figure. And then Wonder Woman, also from the same line. This is the Wonder Woman. This is not the weapon that she came with. I don't remember what this goes to. But, that actually might go to Rey in Star Wars. But, all right, so here's Wonder Woman. She came like this. I generally liked this figure, but not enough to keep it that way. So I didn't like the nose guard, and I didn't like the stars on the pants. So I modified her to look more like, to put her in the world of He-Man. So I gave her a He-Man sword, and then I painted all these jewels on her with paint. And see, and then what I did is I cut the nose guard off, because actually she's got a full face under there, you know. And then I cut this under there because I thought that was kind of goofy looking coming down. I guess it protects her ribs, but and then I painted the pants all black, and it's I put like a hard shiny coating on top, so the paint would be more durable. But then it's so hard that it prevents it from spinning. But that's okay. It's mainly just to look at on the shelf. And I put like that acrylic gloss on her hair too to make that more glossy. So, all right. So that's how I modified that. And then there's the Primal Age Wonder Woman. And, you know, I have a whole Primal Age set, including the castle, and I will eventually show you that. It does have some lateral hip articulation. So you can see that's a ball joint. And if it falls apart, they snap right back on. No elbows. All the Primal Age figures are like 1980s He-Man figures. And she came with a sword that I gave to someone else, and also a little rope, and you know, but it's all just the same thing. And the cape comes off if you want. And then DC Heroes Wonder Woman, and this was appealing more. They were trying to appeal more to a younger generation, and but a very good figure. You know, good articulation, knees, doesn't have ankles, but it turns in the calf, and good face sculpt, you know, very clear. All of these DC hero figures look similar in the face. I think I have all of them, but there are little slight differences. But she can turn her head really well. So it's, you know, it's a cute figure. I think it's cool. And her hair is kind of purple. All right. And then more of the higher end figures. These are something that you go to a comic book store and they would have these on the shelf. And, you know, I always wait till these things go on clearance because they often do. And so she has like a Roman short sword, and there's her shield. I guess that's the island that they come from. And so this is a cool Wonder Woman figure in several ways. It's pretty muscular. It has muscular detail, and that's not something you always get. You know, and the arms as well. And good face sculpt, you know, not Gal Gadot, right? But just, you know, a vision of Wonder Woman. And then here's another one. And another version of Wonder Woman. You know, this one, what's nice about it is you have a bit of a torso joint. All right. And then, yeah, she had a rope that hooks on there. I take these things off and I put them in little containers, like a Wonder Woman container or whatever, so I don't lose it. But then I forget where it is, and for a while. It has the double knees, which is pretty cool, and you have the ankles that roll in all directions. So, you know, yeah, it's not a bad figure of Wonder Woman. Again, similar sword, see? Kind of have that Roman short sword. And then you have, this was in one of the Justice League DC cartoons, Wonder Woman, and it came with several hands and a stand that is kind of weird. I can show you that it doesn't, I don't know, it didn't really work that well. So it's this stand that just sort of gently grasps around her and goes up and down, and you can see you can change the hands out. But yeah, Justice League Gods and Monsters. Okay, so that's this Wonder Woman figure. It actually has, surprisingly, a lot of articulation. So you got a lot of hip articulation. It's that joint that you see, but a lot of times these specialized figures, are kind of stiff, but look, she has that foot that rotates in different planes. So that's pretty cool. And it will rotate forward, but it's pretty stiff. All right, I don't want to force it. And my favorite non-McFarlane Wonder Woman is this one. And this is DC Essentials, so you have to have it. And I think the face sculpt is really good. I mean, the eyes, you can really see into the eyes. And it's just an excellent articulation. The waist, look at how, you see this one doesn't, it's so high that you don't get a lot of articulation. But this one you get a lot of articulation, really rolling around. Double elbows, double knees. Excellent thigh articulation, muscularity. Even though it has the joint in the mid-thigh, it's high up enough that you don't really notice it, and the seam is really small. Good feet that rotate in all directions. The only thing is she doesn't stand really well. She does have foot pegs, though. But what's great to use with her is one of those stands, that McFarlane stand, where like she's flying, so you can have her like leaping. And she did not come with a hand that holds a sword. She came with a hand that is a fist. And I wanted her to have a sword. So, those Wonder Woman figures that I cannibalize, I heated up the plastic, boiling water, and you can even see that the wrists, the hands are different. So you could see this is a thinner joint for the wrist to move. But I wanted her to have a sword. So she didn't come like this, but she's a lot better for it, I think. So, all right. Now I'm going to pause this, and we are going to get to the McFarlane figures. All right. So the McFarlane figures are based on 7-inch. So they're definitely larger. And I can show you that. Here, I'll take here, this is a 6-inch figure. So obviously it's shorter, but the scale is also different. So I have I don't have all of them, but I have pretty much all of them. So this figure is, McFarlane invented this Wonder Woman figure, and this was his vision for Wonder Woman figure. And so you can remove her rope there. And all his figures come with stands. Sometimes they use the stands on other figures. And boom. And they, actually the McFarlane figures don't hold their swords very well. And the other complaint I have with them is that their swords are made out of this plastic that even if they're holding it just in position, it begins to bend. So you see it curves. So you can heat, if plastic is bent, you can heat it and put it in boiling water, and then it heats up and goes back to shape. But this is also, I wanted to show you, see, this is where McFarlane was doing this thing where he would make this flexible plastic over the hip, so it covers the hip joint in the gap. And so when you move it, it stays more looking like what a person looks like when they move. So that's cool. And some higher end action figure companies do that, and it's nice that for $20 and often on clearance, you can get that in a McFarlane figure. And then he came out with a gold label version of this. Oh, see, now also the fingers are flexible. This is a good thing. Sometimes it doesn't hold the sword well, but the good thing is it's easy to bend the hands, because on a lot of figures nowadays, the plastic is so hard, you really struggle and you're worried about breaking it. And again, you can boil the plastic, and sometimes I do, just to get the sword or the weapon, a gun or whatever, in their hands. So this is the gold label version of that figure, and you can see, the paint difference. But other than that, it's the same figure. And I often move swords around. I can't remember if this sword goes to this figure or not. It might be just another one of those. But, I don't care about accessories like that. All right, and then, also they all come with cards. So I'm going to show you the cards, and then they tell you designed by Todd McFarlane. It tells you that. And then, it'll have like little details about the character on the back. This is another one. This is a relatively recent Wonder Woman that's come out. And I like this one too, for a couple of reasons. It seems to be a little more muscular in the legs. So I like that. She's just a thicker, more substantial action figure, a lot like the Superwoman, that's wearing all black figure. So, but she's different and cool. She's more like, able to go all weather, right? So, Justice League. And this is, Endless Winter Wonder Woman. So that's why she's dressed for winter. And this comes in a gold label too. This is the sword that comes with this. In the gold label, she comes with a shield and battle axe. And you can sometimes find that on clearance for $15. They also have this extra shoulder joint. See that? McFarlane does that with his figures. Some work better than others, but this one works pretty well. All right, and then we have Heavy Metal. Came out with a Heavy Metal Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and I think Robin, actually. These figures, and then they came with a piece to build another figure, a build-a-figure set. Well, another thing I like about McFarlane is you only have to buy 4 action figures to build a figure, not like 7 or 8, like Marvel used to be 4, and then they just got ridiculous, and you end up spending, $120, $140 on action figures you don't really want just to make the figure you do want. And that's really asking a lot of the audience. But yeah, so a lot of details on this. And, again, you have the flexible hips, but it's not quite as tight, obviously. She comes with a chainsaw weapon, which I know is just trying to be different. I'm not really a big fan. Plus, she doesn't hold on to it well. So I often have to just put that somewhere so it doesn't get lost. I like her elf look. She doesn't quite look human. And then she has, bones for shoulder shields. So pretty cool. McFarlane does a lot of neat things, just trying to make a different kind of Wonder Woman. And then a Wonder Woman that I like a lot also is, this is sort of like Giant Tila from He-Man looking Wonder Woman. In the new He-Man Revelations, where she has like a half of her head shaved. And I have her here, like this is, she's like, come over here, I got a knuckle sandwich for you. But also she can hold a sword, and there's her sword, nice scabbard to hold the sword. But it's that soft plastic that you can see it kind of gets wavery. I don't think she needs a sword though. But good waist articulation, good ab muscles, good thigh muscles. Just a really heroic, powerful looking figure. And she even has the toe joint. Actually, they all have the toe joint. I don't think the Heavy Metal one. Oh, yes, she does. She has a toe joint too. Pretty cool. You end up not really using it, but it's just neat to see it. And here's something I did. Again, always modifying. So this came from the 1984 Wonder Woman movie. And it came with this head. So you have her in her golden armor with the wings. And it came with this head, and I didn't particularly like this head, so I believe this figure came as a variant. So this is the Mohawk variant. You see, it's the same body, but then you had the arm guards are gold, the braces are gold, and she came with that complete shielded head here. But I thought, that shielded head would look a lot better on fully armored golden Wonder Woman. And this sword did not come with this or this shield, but I thought much better for her to have that. And Mafex also makes a really nice version of this figure where the head sculpt looks really like Gal Gadot. But it's like $90, so it's really nice though. So you can move the wings around on this. But this is I think, a beautiful figure that was, $20, and you can still find that. You can still order that on Amazon or eBay. But yeah, so I put that head on her, and I thought that's fine. I already have the one I really like, so I'll just put that head on here. And it comes with the sword that, you see what happens? So if she holds it too long, it ends up getting all bendy. So, you can just put that into the scabbard, and that'll help straighten it out, other than boiling it in water. And then last, today, is our most recent Wonder Woman from the Shazam movie, is this one. And I did not get the 1984 version of this Wonder Woman that looks pretty much like this, because it had no leg muscles at all. They were just tubes, and the face was, I thought, too fat. It didn't look like her. But they resculpted this, and I think it really looks great. The armor and the body are pretty much the same as the 1984. The 1984 has some black on the boots, but I gave her a sword. It didn't come with a sword. It just came with, it's going to fall out of her hand. All right, see, that's what I'm talking about. They don't hold on to the swords very well. But it came with a couple of, ropes. And this shield goes to Katra from She-Ra, but I thought that looks good for her. And the Katra has like her hands and claws, so she doesn't really need it. And it also came with this removable, head, forehead armor. The one from 1984 was built into her head. This is just something that looks cool that you're going to end up losing. So I shoe glued it on, and I also shoe glued the rope on here because I knew I was going to end up losing those. But this is, McFarlane's, I think, most accurate. I can't say most accurate. It's the most accurate of the Gal Gadot ones, right? The other ones aren't Gal Gadot. And then I'm going to show you this compared to our DC Wonder Woman. All right, and then just for a final comparison, you can see the scale difference, but you can see that the armor is the same. The design is largely the same. The chest armor. You can see the colors on the McFarlane figure are much more vibrant. And this is the way that the head looks like on the 1984 McFarlane figure as far as the head armor, forehead, armor there. But the face doesn't look like that. And then, the same arm braces for the most part. So you can see, how much nicer actually 7-inch scale is. It allows you to do more things with the figure. When something's larger, you can put more detail into it. You can see that these legs really have no muscles, and these have a lot. So I think this is actually more accurate to Gal Gadot's build, but really, Wonder Woman needs to look really muscular. So if you're going to enhance the action figure, a little bit more, I think artistic license is good for that. And of course you have the double elbows, and she drops her sword again. So anyway, thank you for watching Wonder Woman, and there are more Wonder Women. There's going to be the really nice 12-inch scale, so eventually that will be coming up. Thanks for watching. Take care.